Nobody expected much when a tiny 9-year-old girl from Hong Kong walked onto the America's Got Talent stage. She looked shy. She looked nervous. But just a few minutes later, millions of people around the world were asking the same question. Who is this little girl? Her name was Celine Tam, and her voice was about to change her life forever. But what happened after that magical moment would surprise almost everyone. As Celine stepped onto the stage, she smiled at the judges. She spoke softly and told them she loved singing songs by Celine Dion so much that her parents named her after the famous singer. The audience laughed and thought it was sweet. Then the music started. The first few notes came out of her mouth and everything changed. The judges looked shocked. The crowd suddenly became silent. Nobody could believe that such a huge, powerful voice was coming from such a small girl. She sang with confidence and emotion that seemed far beyond her age. By the end of the song, the audience jumped to their feet. In just one performance, Celine Tam became an internet sensation. Clips of her auditions spread across social media. Millions of people watched and shared her performance. Fans called her a future superstar. Others compared her to some of the greatest singers in the world. It seemed like the beginning of an incredible journey. But there was something most viewers didn't know. Behind that beautiful smile was a young girl carrying enormous expectations. Overnight fame can change a person's life, especially when that person is only 9 years old. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know what she would do next. Could she keep impressing the judges? Could she handle the pressure? And could this little girl actually win America's biggest talent competition? What do you think? Did you believe Celine Tam would go on to win America's Got Talent? Let me know in the comments, because what happened next changed everything. People quickly became curious about the little girl behind the amazing voice. Who was Celine Tam when she wasn't standing under bright stage lights? The answer made her story even more special. Celine was born in Hong Kong into a family that loved music. In fact, music wasn't just a hobby in her home. It was part of everyday life. Her father was a music teacher and a huge fan of famous singers. He loved Celine Dion so much that he named his daughter after her. Even more surprising, Celine's younger sister was named after another superstar singer, Dion. From the beginning, music surrounded the family. As a little girl, Celine was always singing. She practiced at home, sang during family gatherings, and performed whenever she got the chance. Her father noticed something special very early on. She didn't just have a good voice. She had a rare ability to connect with people through music. Even as a child, she could make listeners feel emotion in every song. But talent alone wasn't enough. While other kids spent their days playing games and watching cartoons, Celine often spent hours practicing. Her family made sacrifices to help her chase her dream. There were long rehearsals, singing lessons, and countless performances at local events. Success didn't happen overnight. It was built one small step at a time. Then something incredible happened. Videos of her performances started gaining attention online. More people began noticing the young girl with the giant voice. Invitations to perform started arriving. Slowly, her dream was growing bigger than anyone could have imagined. And eventually, that dream led her to the biggest stage of her life, America's Got Talent. But with every new opportunity came even greater expectations. Millions of people now believed they were watching the birth of a future superstar. That's a lot of pressure for anyone. For a 9-year-old girl, it was almost unbelievable. And soon, one performance would change everything again. A moment was coming that would leave the judges emotional, send confetti raining from the ceiling, and make Celine Tam one of the most talked-about contestants of the entire season. If you enjoy stories about talented people who refuse to give up on their dreams, make sure to subscribe, because Celine's journey was only getting started. By the time Celine Tam returned to the America's Got Talent stage, the pressure had become enormous. Millions of people were watching. Fans expected another magical performance. One mistake could change everything. But Celine walked onto the stage with the same gentle smile that had captured hearts from the very beginning. Then the music started. She began singing with confidence and emotion far beyond her years. The audience was completely silent. Every note seemed to pull people deeper into the performance. The judges stared at her in disbelief. It didn't feel like they were listening to a child. It felt like they were watching someone born to perform. As the song reached its final moments, the crowd exploded with applause. People jumped to their feet. Some were cheering. Others looked emotional. It was another unforgettable performance. And then something incredible happened. Guest judge Laverne Cox was so moved that she reached for the golden buzzer. Suddenly, golden confetti poured from the ceiling. The audience screamed with excitement. Celine looked completely shocked. She covered her face with her hands and started crying. Her family rushed onto the stage and hugged her tightly. It was one of those beautiful moments that seemed straight out of a movie. In that instant, everything changed. The golden buzzer meant she was moving straight to the live shows. It also meant the expectations around her became even bigger. Across social media, people were calling her one of the favorites to win the entire competition. Some believed they were witnessing the rise of a future global superstar. But hidden behind the smiles and celebrations was a new kind of pressure. Now every performance had to be even better than the last one. Every song choice mattered. Every note mattered. Millions of people expected perfection from a little girl who was still learning and growing. Have you ever had people expect so much from you that you felt afraid of making even one mistake? Many viewers connected with Celine because they understood that feeling. But nobody could have predicted what happened next. Just when it seemed like Celine's journey was heading toward a dream ending, one shocking result would leave fans heartbroken and wondering how one of the competition's brightest stars could suddenly be in danger of going home. Everything seemed perfect for Celine Tam. She had received the golden buzzer, millions of people loved her, and many fans believed she was destined to win America's Got Talent. Her performances had become some of the most talked about moments of the season. It looked like nothing could stop her. Then came the live shows. The competition was now tougher than ever. Every contestant was giving everything they had. The pressure inside the theater was intense. Celine stepped onto the stage once again and delivered another beautiful performance. She sang with passion and heart, just as she always had. The audience cheered loudly and the judges praised her talent. But talent competitions can be unpredictable. As the results approached, nobody seemed worried about Celine. Fans watching at home were confident that she would move forward. After all, she had become one of the season's biggest stars. It almost felt impossible to imagine the competition without her. Then the shocking announcement came. Celine Tam had been eliminated. For a few seconds, many people couldn't believe what they had heard. The audience looked stunned. Social media exploded almost immediately. Fans shared clips of her performances and expressed their disappointment. Some called the result heartbreaking. Others simply asked the same question, how could this happen? For Celine, the moment was painful. She had worked so hard to reach this stage. She had carried the hopes of millions of supporters around the world. And now, her journey on America's Got Talent was suddenly over. For any child, that kind of disappointment would be difficult to handle. But something remarkable happened next. Instead of crying about what she had lost, Celine smiled. She thanked everyone for supporting her and showed a level of maturity that surprised many adults. She understood something important that many people never learn. Winning isn't always the same as succeeding. Sometimes one setback can become the beginning of something even bigger. And although her America's Got Talent journey had ended, another chapter of her story was just beginning. In fact, after leaving the competition, Celine faced challenges and pressures that most viewers never saw. Yet those hidden struggles would shape the person she would become. And the way she responded to disappointment would inspire millions of people around the world. Because sometimes, the biggest moments in life happen after the cameras stop rolling. Most people thought Celine Tam would disappear after her elimination. That's what usually happens on talent shows. Contestants become famous for a short time and then the world moves on. But Celine's story was different. After America's Got Talent ended, she returned home to Hong Kong. The bright lights, huge crowds, and constant attention suddenly became much quieter. For a young girl, that change wasn't easy. One day, millions of people were talking about her. The next day, life felt almost normal again. But there was another challenge. Now, people expected her to become a superstar. Everywhere she went, she was known as the little girl with the incredible voice. Many wanted her to keep delivering amazing performances. That's a lot of pressure for someone who is still growing up and trying to enjoy being a child. Even so, Celine never gave up. She continued practicing, she kept singing, she kept performing whenever opportunities appeared. While many people were focusing on the fact that she didn't win America's Got Talent, Celine was focusing on something completely different. She was still chasing her dream. And slowly, new doors began to open. She started appearing on television shows in different countries. She performed at concerts and special events. Her videos continued gaining millions of views online. Fans from around the world kept supporting her. In many ways, she had already achieved something bigger than winning a trophy. She had built a global audience that genuinely cared about her journey. But perhaps the most inspiring part of her story was her attitude. She never seemed angry about her elimination. She never acted bitter. Instead, she kept smiling and moving forward. She understood that one setback did not define her future. Think about your own life for a moment. Have you ever worked hard for something and still didn't get the result you wanted? Most of us have. That's why so many people connect with Celine's story. It reminds us that disappointment doesn't have to be the end. Sometimes it can become the reason we grow stronger. And as the years passed, something surprising happened. The little girl with the giant voice began growing up. Her voice matured, her confidence increased, and people started asking a new question: what happened to Celine Tam after all these years? Had she finally achieved the success everyone predicted? Or was there another unexpected twist waiting in her incredible journey? Years passed, and something amazing happened to Celine Tam. She didn't disappear. She didn't give up on music. Instead, she quietly kept building her dream, one step at a time. As she grew older, her voice began to mature. The little girl who once amazed the judges on America's Got Talent was becoming a young singer with even greater control and confidence. She continued sharing covers and performances online, and fans who had followed her journey from the beginning were amazed by how much she had grown. But the biggest change wasn't her voice. It was her mindset. Celine had learned something powerful at a very young age. Fame can come quickly, and it can disappear just as fast. Winning one competition does not guarantee success, and losing one does not mean failure. Because of that lesson, she focused less on proving herself to others and more on becoming better every day. She continued performing at concerts and special events around the world. She appeared on television programs and kept connecting with fans through music. Even after all these years, millions of people still remembered the little girl who stood on the AGT stage and shocked everyone with her voice. And perhaps that's the most incredible part of her story. Many winners of talent shows are eventually forgotten. But people still talk about Celine Tam. They still watch her auditions. They still leave comments saying they remember exactly where they were when they first heard her sing. That's the kind of impact that cannot be measured by trophies. Celine's journey became bigger than America's Got Talent. She became a symbol of determination and resilience. She showed people that success isn't always about finishing in first place. Sometimes success means refusing to quit, even when life doesn't go according to plan. Can you relate to that? Have you ever faced disappointment but kept moving forward anyway? If so, you're probably closer to Celine's story than you realize. Today, Celine Tam continues pursuing her passion for music and inspiring people around the world. She may no longer be the tiny 9-year-old standing nervously on the AGT stage, but the qualities that made millions fall in love with her are still there. Her kindness, her dedication, and her refusal to let one setback define her future. And maybe that's why her story still matters. Because every time someone watches her old performances, they're reminded of a simple but powerful truth. Sometimes the most beautiful journeys are the ones that don't go exactly as planned. The question now is, where will Celine Tam's story go next? Only time knows the answer, and that's exactly what makes her journey so inspiring.